Okay, thank you. Just wait until it hits 9 o'clock. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the Committee of Adjustment meeting on February the 14th, Valentine's Day, to order. And we'll start with the call to order. Moved by Member Bosworth, second by Member Quinn. Be it resolved that Committee of Adjustment agenda dated February 14th, 2022 be adopted. All those in favor? And that is carried. Has anyone heard from Member Quinn? Oh, there he is there. So right on time. And we'll have the adoption of the minutes. Moved by Member Grogan Green, second by Member Creaser. Be it resolved that the minutes dated January 17th, 2022 be adopted and approved as circulated. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that is carried. Yes.
Just a reminder that you need to do the declarations.
I was just going to do that. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Yes, Member Quinn.
I believe it's the first item on the docket, 8A, being B-113- or /21/ML. I'll sit out on that. I've been involved in a sale on that property.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Then Rachel would like to turn my sound off here.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. It is required that I make a few statements, and then I will explain the procedures of the hearing. This electronic hearing is being held in accordance with Section 238 of the Municipal Act 2001 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The members of the Committee of Adjustment present are Chair Alan Edwards, members Joe Quinn, Lisa Grogan Green, Rob Bosworth, and Sharon Creaser. I confirm that we have a quorum. The members of the Township staff present are Derek Hammond, CAO, David Pink, Director of Development Services and Environmental Sustainability, Bryce Sharp, Manager of Planning, Caitlin Walker, Planner 1, Kristen Darling, Planner 1, Sam Soya, Planner 2, Lauren Cochran, Planning Services Assistant, Elizabeth Markle, Planning Clerk, and myself, Rachel Mulholland, Secretary Treasurer of the Committee of Adjustment. Public input on this February 14th, 2022 agenda was invited at the following email address: planning@muskokalakes.ca. It should be noted, the motions have been pre-populated with random movers and seconders to expedite the meeting. When it is time to vote, members shall physically raise their hand until the chair has confirmed the vote. If the vote is unclear, a verbal vote shall be recorded. This is not considered a recorded vote. Now I will explain the hearing process. The planner will provide an explanation and purpose of the application. The date notice was circulated and will present any submissions received. The planner will also provide the planning staff's comments. Committee will then hear from the applicant or the applicant's agent if they wish to add any information or to substantiate their proposal. Please provide your name, mailing address, and postal code for our records. Committee will hear from those in support of the application and those in opposition to the application. Again, please provide your name, mailing address, and postal code for our records. If you're here to speak on an application, please wait to raise your hand in Zoom until the planner presents the relevant application. Committee will then hear the applicant or the applicant's agent respond to any questions or concerns raised. Committee will then have the opportunity to ask questions of the applicant and/or staff. Committee will debate the application and make a decision based on the information presented at the hearing. Please note that the effect of written and oral submissions on decisions of applications for consent and minor variances and the reasons for minor variance decisions, as both required under the Planning Act, will be pre-populated with standard wording. However, committee may decide to add reasons and/or effects to standard wording after voting on a decision. It must be noted that the chair has a vote on each application and can participate in the discussion. There is a 20-day appeal period from the date of the decision. In the case of a minor variance application, a building permit is not available until after the appeal period and no appeals are received. When you are present at the hearing, please provide us your name and mailing address. When you present at the hearing, please provide your name and mailing address. Any presentation is limited to 5 minutes unless otherwise permitted by the committee. Please note the resolutions are automatically written in the positive to assist in completing decisions as opposed to writing out each resolution. This does not in any way mean an application is going to be approved. And one last thing, please take down the pink notice signs that were posted on your property to advertise today's meeting. Thank you. Sorry, the chair has been locked out. I'll just help him out in a second.
No, I don't want.
Yes, Member Queen.
I believe that 8C is as well as part of that same application that I have to recuse myself from.
Okay, 8B, okay. Sorry about that. Okay, and our first application is B 11321, and that'll be Ms. Walker.
Good morning, Chair Edwards and members of committee. Can everyone hear me okay? All
Yes.
right. First application to be heard is consent application B/113/21ML in the name of Research Data Group. The subject lands are known municipally as 1013 Craigie Road, Unit 5. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted consent sketch on page 34 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of the application is summarized as follows. Consent application B/113/21ML has been submitted to sever a portion of the subject property and add it to the abutting lot. The application is a change of common lot lines and no new lots are being created. Notice of this public hearing under the Planning Act was circulated 18 days in advance and 4 submissions have been received to date. The first submission is by Bell Canada and is summarized as follows. Bell Canada is requesting that a 3-meter wide easement be measured 1.5 meters on either side of our aerial for facilities can be accommodated. Since the easement is required in order to provide and sustain service, all costs associated with this transaction will be the responsibility of the owner. Compensation is to be set at a nominal amount of $2 for the acquisition of these easement rights. And I can read that at full at committee's request. The second submission is by Nick Snyder, the Township's Chief Building Official. The Development Services Department has no objections. The third submission is by Tim Sopko, the township's public works technician. The Public Works Department has no comments. The fourth submission is by Sandy Boss, Township Building Inspector, stating he has no comments in regard to the proposed lot addition in relation to the on-site sewage systems. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration. If committee is considering approval of consent application B/113/21/ML, staff have recommended that such approval be conditional upon the following. 1, that a registerable description of the severed lot and any required rights of ways be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer, along with a registered copy of the reference plan. 2, that a legal undertaking be submitted in order to confirm that the severed lot will merge on title to the lot it is being added to upon registration of the transfer/deeds. And 3, that an easement over the subject lands be granted to Bell Canada to protect existing aerial facilities, supply service to the subject lands, and to maintain service in the area. Staff have no further comments at this time, but I'm happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Annette, and do we have the applicant or applicant's agent here wishing to speak on this?
We have, no,
No one here. Okay, are there any questions?
Alex,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt, but I think member Quinn's declared a conflict for this application.
Yeah.
He should have his
Oh.
screen turned up.
Member Quinn, and also I believe 8C is as well, you may be involved in. Okay, thank you. Okay, so other questions from the members? No questions? Moved by member Creaser, second by member Bosworth. Be it resolved that consent be granted for application B 113/21ML, providing the following conditions are fulfilled. 1, a registered description deed of the severed lot and any required right of way be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer along with a registered copy of the reference plan. 2, the legal undertaking be submitted in order to confirm that the severed lot will merge in title to the lot it is being added to upon registration, transfer/deeds, which may include breaking the consent. And 3, that an easement over the subject lands be granted to Bell Canada to protect existing aerial facilities, supply service to the subject lands, and to maintain service in the area. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that's carried. And the next application is A1421. And that's Miss Darling.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. The next application to be heard is consent application B 114/21ML in the name of Scheinberg. The subject property does not have a municipally assigned address. I would like to direct committee's attention to the submitted consent sketch on page 45 to 47 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of the application is summarized as follows. The applicant proposes to grant a right-of-way over parts of an existing private road in favor of the property owned by Asai Scheinberg. Notice of this public hearing under the Planning Act was circulated 14 days in advance, and 4 submissions have been received to date. First submission was received by the Township's Public Works Technician, Tim Sopko. He comments that the private road, including the township-owned non-maintained portions, has not been reviewed by Public Works, and road access for emergency services may be limited and or unavailable from via the proposed road access. The second submission is from the Township's Chief Building Official, Nick Snyder, and he has no objections. The third submission is from Building Inspector Sandy Boss and has no objection to the application. And the fourth submission is from the District Municipality of Muskoka, and they comment that they have no concerns with the application. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration, and staff have recommended standard conditions of consent requiring a registral description of the severed lot right away be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer, along with a registered copy of the reference plan. Staff have no further comments at this time and are happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Darden. Is the applicant or applicant's agent here wishing to speak on this?
The agent's here.
Hello, Council. It's Robert Kerr. I'm the agent for the Scheinbergs who are making this application. It is a common one. I think it's before you. This road is well known.
Excuse me, could we have your full name and address and postal code?
Sorry. Yep, it's Robert Kerr, lawyer, 1-6 Dominion Street, Bracebridge, Ontario. P1L2A6. I'm appearing as agent for the Scheinberg applicant.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
And that's okay. I was just, I don't think I have anything further to add. I think it's a fairly straightforward hearing application, but if there's any questions, let me know. This is really to just grant a right of way from the one Scheinberg property to his son who owns the other Scheinberg property. But they're two separate lots. They've always been two separate lots for some time. If you have any questions, let me know.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the members? Seeing none, I'll read the resolution. Moved by, just gonna have to cross that one off. Mr. Bosworth. And moved by member Bosworth, second by member Golden Green. Be it resolved that consent be granted for application B 11421 ML Scheinberg, provided the following conditions is fulfilled. One, a reservable description deed of the severed right of way be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer along with a registered copy of the reference plan. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That's carried. Okay, and the next application is B 11521 ML. And that is Ms. Darling.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. The next application to be heard is consent application B 11521 ML in the name of Haroun. The subject property is known municipally as 1240 Carlingford Road. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted consent sketch on page 58 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of the application is summarized as follows. The applicant proposes to grant a right-of-way over parts of an existing private road in favor of the property owned by Christine and Alan McGee. Notice of this public hearing under the Planning Act was circulated 19 days in advance and 5 submissions have been received to date. The first submission was received by the Township's Public Works Technician, Tim Sopko. He comments that it appears the private road crosses an original road allowance and Township Council needs to approve this via a license agreement. The private road has not been reviewed by Public Works and road access for emergency services may be limited and or unavailable via the proposed road access. The second submission is from the Township's Chief Building Official, Nick Snyder, and he has no objections. The third submission is from Building Inspector Sandy Boss, and he has no objections. The fourth is from the Emergency Services, Eric Campbell, and has no comments. And the last is from the District Municipality of Muskoka, and they have no concerns with the application. So staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration and have recommended standard conditions of consent requiring that a registral description, a deed of the serviced severed lot, right of way be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer along with a registered copy of the reference plan, and that a satisfactory license agreement be entered into with the township and the owner of the benefiting lot for the encroachment of the driveway on the abutting unopened township road allowance. Staff have no further comments at this time and are happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Darling. And is the applicant's agent here wishing to speak on this?
No.
No, nobody in there? Okay, we had somebody, okay. Are there any questions or comments? Read the motion. Moved by member Grogan Green, second by member Creaser. Be it resolved that consent be granted for application B 11521 ML Haroun, provided the following conditions are filled. 1, a registered description deed of the severed lot right away be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer along with a registered copy of the reference plan. 2, that a satisfactory license agreement be entered into with the township and the owners of the benefiting lot for the encroachment of a driveway on the abutting unopened township road allowance. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that is carried. And next application is B 11721 ML Nesbit. And that is sorry, just a second here. Yeah, Mr. Sawyer, that's what I thought. I hadn't checked one off here. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the next application to be heard is consent application B 11721 ML in the name of Nesbit and Smith. The subject property is vacant and has frontage on Muskoka Road 38, but does not have a municipal address assigned. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted consent sketch on page 70 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of the application is to grant a right-of-way over an existing driveway on the applicant's property in favor of a benefiting lot to the south, which is also owned by the applicant. In November of last year, council approved severance and zoning bylaw amendment applications to facilitate the severance of the benefiting lot into 2 severed lots and 1 retained lot, all with frontage on Hessner's Lake. And at that time, it was revealed that this additional right-of-way was required to establish legal mainland access. As a result, these previous severance approvals are conditional upon the approval of the right-of-way that has now been applied for. Notice of this public hearing was circulated 17 days in advance of today's meeting in accordance with the Planning Act, and 5 comments have been received to date. The first submission is by the Township's Chief Building Official, Nick Snyder, advising that there are no Ontario Building Code concerns. The second submission is from Building Inspector Sandy Boss, advising he has no concerns with the proposed right-of-way. The third submission is by Public Works Technician Tim Sopko, advising that approval of a license agreement is required for access across an intervening township road allowance. This road allowance can be seen on the consent sketch labeled as road known as Spencer Road. Public Works staff also advised that a propane tank and electricity meter which service the benefiting lot are located on this road allowance and should be relocated as a condition of approval. And the fourth submission is by the Emergency Services Department, advising that they have no concerns. The fifth submission is by Curtis Sibrit, District Planner, advising that the District Municipality of Muskoka has no concerns. And I've prepared a detailed planning report for committee's consideration. Staff have no concerns with the application, subject to the following conditions. Number 1, that a registrable description of the right-of-way be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer along with a registered copy of the reference plan. That the retained and benefiting lots be transferred into separate ownership to allow for registration of the right-of-way. that the owner enter into a satisfactory license agreement with the township for access purposes across the abutting unopened township road allowance, and that the main tank and electricity meter be removed from the road allowance. I have no further comments at this time, but I would be happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sawyer. And is the applicant or applicant's agent here? And I believe he is.
Yes, good morning, Chair Edwards. Stephen Founder, Northern Vision Planning Limited, 109 Meadow Heights Drive, Bracebridge, Ontario, P1L1A4, although I'm not there right at the moment, but anyways, that's my normal address. I'm here representing Art Nesbitt and Gail Smith on this particular application, and it is a right-of-way application, but there was some history to this, and I do have a brief PowerPoint presentation, and I would like to thank staff for their patience on this one. This was an item that I missed, and the surveyor missed when we submitted it initially. Thank you. So you can go ahead to the next slide. I'll just be very brief. Again, this is an application for right-of-way over lands owned by the property owner. My numbers there aren't correct, but the right-of-way itself is 20 feet in width and approximately 100 feet in length. So it's fairly short, actually. Next. And this just shows the application, and this will go to the apply to the entire lands as they currently are now, because technically they haven't been, the new lots have not been created, but you can see the outline of the lots that were subject to a previous application that was recently approved by Planning Committee and Council. Next. And those applications were approved by committee on in November and then approved by council in December. And the reasons why they went to those particular bodies was there was a zoning bylaw, an old bylaw that affected this property and which needed to be rescinded as it impacted this property. There were objections to the applications at that time, but the approval was not appealed. And this right-of-way was imposed as a condition of consent. Next. And this is the previous application, again, that was approved in December. Next. So this is just the right-of-way entering the property from District Road 38. And it takes a, immediate left there, about a 45-degree angle left as you go in. Next. And this is farther in, and you can see the dwelling on the retained lands. We're still on the portion of the property that this right-of-way applies. Next. And a little farther in, we're actually pretty much very close to the border between my client's lands and the municipal road that runs through here. It's an old colonization road known as Spencer Road. You can see the propane tank. It is a little snow covered there, but it's near the middle, just to the right of the middle of the photo. Next. And this is just the right-of-way looking the other way. This is about halfway into the right-of-way, about 50 to 60 feet, and there's another 40 feet behind me that's part of the right-of-way application. Next. And again, this is a condition of consent. The official plan does permit limited development on a private road, so it's something that is sanctioned by the official plan. The driveway is existing, and there was, as part of the previous application, a right-of-way was approved over the back of the retained lands, actually, to the severed lots. So this actually, quite frankly, just fills in the blank to get it out to the district road. Next. And just in concluding, the driveway is existing. It conforms to the OP. It's only servicing one lot, and it was a condition of consent. Thank you. I'm here to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Mr. Fowler. Are there any questions from the committee? Is there anyone else here wishing to speak in support of this application?
No.
Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Okay, now, are there questions from the members? Seeing none? Oh, yes, Mr. Bosworth.
It looks like the lot that's on the lake has been severed into 3 lots. Does that mean there will be additional right-of-way is required to get road access to them?
Mr. Fawner, would you like to answer that, or Mr. Sawyer?
Yes, I can take a crack at it through the chair. The if you noticed in the sketch that was submitted with the application, this right of way will actually apply to the entire lands, and it'll be registered first prior to the lots being created. So this right of way will then apply to the other lots as well once they are created. So it's just a matter of sequencing when things are registered on title. So it will apply to the entire lands.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none. Moved by member Bosworth, second by member Quinn. Be it resolved that consent be granted for application B 11721 ML Nesbitt and Smith, provided the following conditions are fulfilled. 1, a registrable description deed of the separate lot right away be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer along with a registered copy of the reference plan. 2, that the retained and benefiting lots be transferred into separate ownership as necessary to allow for registration of the right-of-way. 3, that confirmation be received that the township is satisfied that the retained lot is satisfactory for on-site sewage disposal, that any problems identified with the existing sewage system be corrected to the satisfaction of the township. 4, that a satisfactory license agreement be entered into with the township for access proposed to the benefiting lot across the abutting unopened road township road allowance. And 5, that the propane tank and electricity meter serving the benefiting lot be satisfactorily moved from the abutting unopened road township road allowance. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you for the love today. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. And the next one is B 120, 121, 122, 123. And that is Ms. Walker.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. The next applications to be heard are consent applications B-120 to 123/21/ML in the name of Triquito and Heckman. The subject lots are known municipally as 1213 Camp Jackson Road, Unit 4 and Unit 5. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted consent sketches starting on page 80 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of the application is as follows. Severance applications B-120 to 123/21ML have been made to grant rights of ways over parts of an existing private road on the Triquito and Heckman properties in favor of the benefiting properties owned by the Beers and the Provincial Council for the Boy Scouts of Canada. Notice of this public hearing under the Planning Act was circulated 19 days in advance, and 5 submissions have been received to date. The first submission is by the District of Muskoka stating they have no objections. The second submission is by Eric Campbell, interim fire protection officer. The submission is as follows. The property is 15 minutes from the closest responding fire station. Typical assembly times are 10 minutes. It will take responders an estimated 25 minutes to arrive by road on scene for an emergency situation. Due to the possibility of the use of this property, the fire department recommend a life safety study be conducted. The third submission is by Nick Snyder, the township's chief building official. The Development Services Department has no objections. The fourth submission is by Tim Supko, the township's public works technician. The submission is as follows. The private road, including any township-owned non-maintained portions, has not been reviewed by Public Works, and road access for emergency services may be limited and or unavailable via the proposed road access. The fifth submission is by Sandy Boss, Township Building Inspector, stating he has no comments regarding the proposed lot addition in relation to on-site sewage systems. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration and have no objection. If committee is considering approval, staff recommend the following conditions. One, that illegible descriptions of the severed lots and right-of-ways be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer along with a registered copy of the reference plan. And two, that confirmation be received that the township is satisfied that the retained lots are satisfactory for on-site sewage disposal and that any problems identified with the existing sewage system be corrected to the satisfaction of the township. I don't have any further comments, but I'm happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Walker. Is the applicant or applicant's agent here wishing to speak on this?
Graham Hussein is here.
Okay.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, members of committee. My name is Graham Huizinga with Wayne Simpson and Associates Land Use Planners in Huntsville, Ontario, 76 King William Street, P1H1E4. I'm here on behalf of the Beers family as well as the Boy Scouts of Canada, the benefiters of this proposed right-of-way. I think this is a fairly straightforward right-of-way. We're essentially just legalizing an existing access. I concur with staff's recommendation for approval, and I'm happy to take any discussion if there is any. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here wishing to speak in support of this application?
No.
Anyone in opposition? Okay. Are there questions from the members? Seeing none?
A question,
Oh,
Chair, what do we do about the recommendation? I think it was from Emergency Services that a life support saving study be done?
Bryce, would you like to answer that? Just a minute. I'll just.
Through you, Chair Edwards, and thank you for your question, Member Bosworth. I can clarify the comments were received after we published our report, and we have clarified with the fire chief that they should be taken as more or less as a general comment or a suggestion, but it's not being required in the context of this application as a condition. So I think we're comfortable proceeding on that basis. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the clarification.
Okay, does that answer your question, Member Bosworth?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Moved by Member Creaser, second by Member Brogan Green. Be it resolved that consent be granted for application B 120, 121, 122, 123, 21 ML, provided the following conditions are fulfilled. 1, a registrable description deeds of the severed lots right away be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer, along with a registered copy of the reference plan. 2, that confirmation be received that the township is satisfied that the retained lots are satisfactory for on-site sewage disposal, that any problems identified with any existing sewage system be corrected to the satisfaction of the township. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that is carried.
Thank you very much.
And the next application is minor variance. That's A 8221 Smith. I'm sorry, in that, Ms. Darden, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. The next application to be heard is minor variance application A8221 in the name of Smith. The subject property is known municipally as 1039 Sander Road, unit number 18. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted site plan on page 96 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of the application is summarized as follows. The applicant proposes to recognize an as-built dock on an undersized lot. Relief is requested for the minimum lot frontage requirement of 100 feet to recognize an as-built dock on a lot with 95 feet of frontage. The variance requested is to recognize the dock on an undersized lot. Notice of this public hearing under the Planning Act was circulated 11 days in advance and 3 submissions have been received. The first submission received was from the Township's Public Works Technician, Tim Sopko, and he has no comment. Second submission is from the Township's Chief Building Official, Nick Snyder, and comments that if approved, a building permit application will be required to legalize the construction of the dock. And the third submission is from Bell Canada, who has no objection to the application. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration and have no concerns with the application. Staff have no further comments at this time, but would be happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Darling. Is the applicant or applicant's agent here wishing to speak on this?
The applicant's here.
Okay, we'll bring the applicant in, please.
She's in.
Okay.
Yes, it's Linda Smith.
Okay. You can,
7185 McNiven Road, Campbellville, Ontario, L0P1B0. Can you hear me?
yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Our only comment was that we're sorry we built this dock without a permit. We did not realize we had to get a permit. We purchased the property in 1987, and in 2020 we put the dock on it and have since received a site permit and also now a building permit from you people. That's our only comment.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here wishing to speak in support? Anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Are there questions from the members? Seeing none. Moved by member Bosworth, second by member Quinn. Be it resolved that application A 8221 Smith to recognize an as-built dock is hereby approved, with the following variances being granted: to permit an as-built dock on an undersized lot. This variance is granted as shown on the plan attached to the notice of decision. This approval shall remain in effect for 3 years from the date of decision. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That is carried. Okay, thank you. And the next one is A83 Lerner, and that is Ms. Darling again.
Thank you, Jared. The next application to be heard is minor variance application A8321 in the name of Lerner. The subject property is known municipally as 1033 Rossclare Road, Unit 35. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted site plans on page 114 and 115 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of the application is summarized as follows. The applicants propose to demolish an existing dock and construct a new dock. Relief is requested from the minimum lot frontage requirements for a lot of record of 100 feet. The subject lot has 78 feet of frontage. Variance will permit a dock to be enlarged on an undersized lot. Relief is also requested from the minimum side yard setback requirement of 15 feet. The northeasterly side yard setback is to be 2 feet. Variance requested is 13 feet, and relief is also requested from the minimum side yard setback requirement of 20 feet. The variance requested is 20 feet. Notice that this public hearing under the Planning Act was circulated 11 days in advance, and 3 submissions have been received to date. The first submission was received by the Township's Public Works Technician, Tim Sopko, and he has no objections. The second is from the Township's Chief Building Official, Nick Snyder, and he comments that he has no objection to the application. And third is from Bell Canada, who comments that they also have no objection to the application. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration and have recommended approval subject to a reduction in dock width as outlined in the staff report, and that the site plan agreement be amended along with securities for revegetation of the shoreline buffer. Staff have no further comments at this time and are happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Darling. And is the applicant or applicant's agent here with us speaking? And I believe we have someone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, once again, Chair Edwards, member of the committee. I'm here on behalf of Mitchell Lerner, the property owner. Well, I guess I should state my name again for the record.
Yeah.
Graham Heisinger with Wayne Simpson and Associates Land Use Planners, 76 King William Street, Huntsville, P1H1E4. So I'm here on behalf of Mitchell Lerner, the owner of the subject lands. This is a bit of an interesting property as there's an existing encroachment with the current dock. And also the additional factor of the actual ownership of the waterbed by the property owners, as opposed to it being crown lake bed. So what we've tried to do with this application is create a situation where the dock can be functional for Mr. Lerner and his family to use and enjoy, as well as rectifying that existing encroachment onto the neighbor's property. And Mr. Lerner, and as well through us, has been consulting with the neighbors throughout the process on that. We understand that the initial dock as proposed was 16 foot in width, and there were some concerns from staff about whether that width was supportable. I did prepare and provide staff on Friday with kind of an updated sketch to depict what we might be thinking in terms of some sort of compromise. Would I be able to share my screen to depict that for committee?
Yes, if that's possible. Nope.
Can't do screen sharing.
Oh, we can't
Not
do screen
possible?
sharing.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'll describe it verbally then. So no fault.
Hang on just one second. What was that?
I think we could screen share the sketch if he wants.
Has it
But he
been?
hasn't sent it.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah, he would need to email it to
if
us.
you emailed the sketch, we could screen share from here.
Oh, okay. Who would I
Mr.
be
Light.
emailing to?
No, to me.
To Mr. Sharp, Bryce Sharp.
Okay. If we can give me a moment, I can arrange that. Thank you for
Okay.
accommodating. But while I'm sending it, I'll describe it. Essentially, we've reduced the width of the proposed dock from 16 feet to 12 feet. And in doing so, we've increased the side yard setback or the variance requested from 2 feet to 4 feet on the northeastern property line. In doing so, we think we've given more space for boat traffic to move around that dock, as opposed to the 2-foot variance that is before committee today. So I believe that's a suitable compromise. The concern with the 8-foot dock width is more for stability and whether the dock will be able to withstand pressures from ice and chop building up on the lake, as well as making sure that it's usable for docking, as well as for storing things and carrying things to and from boats and things like that, and just making sure that it's a usable space. Okay, I'm forwarding to Bryce now, so just give me a moment, please.
Elizabeth,
Yeah,
do you have my screen share turned on?
I made you co-host so you can screen share. Is it not?
Says who can share, only host. What does that mean? Well, never mind.
You find it?
Wonderful, thank you. So yes, the updated dock will have the same setback on the, I guess we call it the southern lot line, an increased setback of 4 feet from the northeastern lot line, moving, even further away from the existing encroaching dock that encroaches into the water of the northeastern property. And the dock would be 12 feet by 54 feet, which given the character of other docks in the area, I think is appropriate. The dock just to the north is actually 16 feet wide. dock to the south is, I believe, 12 or 13 feet wide and probably longer than would be permitted today, and also has a boathouse associated with it. And there are several other docks in the area that all feature boathouses as well. So given that this is an undersized shoreline frontage lot, I believe a 12-foot dock is appropriate. I know I didn't give staff a lot of time to review that, so that's totally understandable that it didn't make it into the report. But I just wanted to present that for committee's consideration and hopefully discussion. So thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Can you put it back there, Grace?
Where is it?
It's at the top first. You should say and share screen.
Thank you. Can you tell me, the existing dock is there, what is the width of that?
I believe it's 6 feet and change. It's one of those lift docks, so it's not an exact width, but I've been told by the property owner that it's insufficient for their needs in terms of how much wind and chop they get coming off of the lake.
Okay. Is there anyone else here wishing to speak in support of this application?
Yes, the applicant.
Okay, we'll bring the applicant in then.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
My name is Mitchell Lerner, and my address is 130 Glen Park in North York, M6B 2C5. That's my residential address. Okay. First of all, I want to thank you to the chair. I want to thank Chair Edwards and to the members of the committee for the opportunity to make this application. It's been a long time since we've been trying to find a solution to the problem. And I wanted to thank the planners as well who've helped us get to this point. Both Graham, who's helped us, and also within the township. They've been very kind in helping us over the years, and it's been a pleasure to work with all of them. I don't wish to repeat what's already been said, but I would like to just add a personal dimension to this, and it is that it would be a much more stable situation for my wife, for myself, for my family to get a permanent dock. Instead of one that, every spring and fall we have to raise and lower. And there's some hazard in that, but that a better dock would provide just much greater security for us. And with some width would give us comfortable access to the boat with all the paraphernalia that goes with it. And we believe that we solve an important issue with regard to the lot lines that has been there for a long time, and it also is actually beneficial for the neighbors. The present situation, the new situation would be much better than what we have presently. And we also believe that we don't adversely affect anyone, including our neighbors, and we actually improve the situation for everyone with an aesthetically pleasing dock that's consistent in size and scope with our neighbors. Again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to present this application.
Thank you very much, sir. And is there anyone else wishing to speak in support of this application? Anyone in opposition to this application? Other questions from the members? Yes, Mr. Member Bosworth.
Thank you, Chair. This is not just a minor variance on lot, undersized lot. This is quite a significant undersized lot. Many that we deal with are 5 feet. I think the previous one was 5 feet under. So it's a pretty small lot size across the front. And I personally, my dock is 10 feet wide. There's room to keep a canoe along one side and navigate it perfectly fine. I would like to see this dock width brought down to 10 feet, then I would approve it.
Is there anyone else who would like to comment on that? Yes. Member Green.
Yes, I was going to suggest the same thing as Member Bosenworth, because I think the staff wanted it to go down to 8 feet. Now we're at 12 feet. Maybe cut it off in the middle and call it 10 feet. I agree. It's a very big dock relative to the small dock that extended into the other neighbor's lot line, extended over. It's a big change, I think, from what was there.
Okay. Did you want to comment? Just 1 second then.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. I just wanted to make a general comment because I have been involved in numerous pre-consultations with Mr. Lerner and Wayne Simpson and Associates regarding this property and the unique constraints that present themselves on this property. The one thing I'm not hearing, and it was my understanding and speaking with Mr. Lerner and Mr. Huizinga, is that there is a water depth issue here. No water depth information has been provided, but I would note that based on our review of aerial photography, it's pretty clear that there is a shoal, shallow water that extends out into the water. So I wanted to note that because like I said, I hadn't heard it been mentioned, and I think that is also a constraint in this instance, and it is partly why the applicant has is proposing to construct the dock out to the I believe it's 52 feet in actual length. So hopefully that's useful clarification for committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Member Quinn.
Through the chair, and it maybe goes to Bryce. If there's a shallow water or a shoal out there, we're not restricting length. We're talking about width, and so I don't know how that would affect what we're asking for on this application.
Thank you, through you, Chair Edwards, and thank you, Member Quinn, for your question. I guess, the reason I had mentioned it is because, I think the length of the dock isn't the subject of the application, but it does contribute to built form. So, staff had considered very closely the length relative to some of the other variances that are on the table, including the side yard from that lot line projection, as well as the overall size of the dock. So again, I just felt that it was important to mention that there is that water depth constraint on this property, and it is necessitating the length of the dock. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sharp. So I guess I was asking, is Mr. Sharp or the planner that you had recommended an 8-foot wide dock. I walked out on a 5-foot dock over 100 feet for years and was able to pass somebody. So is that what you recommend, like an 8-foot dock rather than the 12-foot or even the 10-foot that was mentioned? Thank you.
Edwards. I think in this context, based on what I'm hearing from committee, I think a 10-foot width would be a reasonable compromise given what's being proposed initially and circulated. So if committee was okay with that width, I don't think that staff would object to that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sharp. So all those who would like a 10-foot dock in that, can you just sort of indicate that? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
Because that could affect the side yard.
Well, it will affect it. It'll make it better, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll,
Just for the
increase-
purposes of your resolution though.
Yeah, just a minute then. So I'll ask the agent then, if it goes to 10 feet, what would the northeasterly lot line, you had 2 feet, would it be now 6 feet?
Kind of off the cuff, I think what I did when I prepared the 12-foot version was took 2 feet off the dock on each side. So if we were to go to 10, I'd probably take another 1 foot off each side. So we'd be at 5 feet from the northeast side lot line. Perhaps Mitchell can chime in if that's acceptable to him.
I'd do 4.5, just to give them a bit of.
Yeah, if we make it 4.5, that gives you a little bit of wiggle room.
Sure.
And this is acceptable to us. It is acceptable to us. We're trying to get as stable as situation as possible. This part of is not really relevant, but originally when the property was marketed, it was marketed as 100-foot frontage. And then when going through our due diligence a number of years ago when we bought the property, the survey showed 82 feet. And then the most recent showed 72. And so I don't know exactly. I think it had to do with how the measurements were done at the shoreline. But the original marketing of 100 feet, was changed. And then we decided to go ahead and purchase because of the beauty of the beauty of the place. And we were always hoping that we would be able to solve this problem at some point. So I'm actually very grateful that we have the opportunity that we have at the present time. And I'm very grateful for your understanding. Then that we will get a permanent dock that'll be safer for my wife, who's not as stable as she used to be. And I'm always looking to see what's underfoot for her. And I'm grateful that it'll be better for our grandchildren. Thank you kindly.
Okay, thank you. I think that maybe you would like to add a 10-foot width in that. I did mark 4.5 feet on the other, but it should be marked so
Okay,
that
thanks.
no. And we're still 0 at the other lot line, right? Because it's crossing it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing else that needs to be changed here, Alan.
No, just add that like the dock width is 10 feet.
It'll be as shown on the plan attached to the, so he'll submit a revised.
Okay, well, that's fine. I just wanted it covered. That's fine.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's fine. Thanks, Alan.
Thank you. Okay, moved by member Quinn, second by member Creaser. Be it resolved that application A 8321 Lerner to permit the construction of an enlarged dock is hereby approved with the following variances being granted. 1, to permit a dock to be enlarged and relocated on an undersized lot. 2, to permit a dock to be 4.5 feet from the northeasterly side lot line projection. And 3, to permit a dock to be 0 feet from the southerly lot line projection. These variances are granted shown on the plan attached to the notice of decision and is hereby subject to the following condition: that a site plan agreement be entered into along with securities for revegetation of the shoreline buffer. This approval shall remain in effect for 3 years from the date of decision. Any questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Bosworth.
Just to be clear, do the setbacks define that ensure the dock is 10 feet? Because it wasn't part of the.
I had asked Mr. Sharp, and he said it will be on the drawings attached to the notice of the plan attached to the notice of decision. So that'll be corrected when it comes in.
Thank you.
It will not be approved. This is 10 feet. Right, Mr. Sharp? Yes, thank you. Okay, so any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that is carried.
Thank you very much. And thank you to staff for working on the fly there. I always appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and the next application is A8421 Graham. And that is Ms. Darling again.
Yes. Thank you, Chair Edwards. The next application to be heard is minor variance application A8421 in the name of Graham. The subject property is known municipally as 1490 Acton Island Road, unit number 8. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted site plan and drawings on page 180 through 188 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of the application is summarized as follows. The applicant proposes to construct a single-story boathouse with a rooftop sun deck on an existing dock. Relief is requested from the maximum cumulative width of a single-story boathouse on a lot with less than 200 feet of frontage. I have a, 1 second. I think I'm reading the wrong thing. So sorry.
That's what I thought, because I got 2122, so it's
I got it through and I was like, this doesn't sound right. So sorry. Okay. Oh. Okay, so the applicant proposes to construct a swim dock addition to an existing dock. So the relief requested is from the cumulative dock width of 75 feet. The proposed swim dock will be 10 feet, which makes the cumulative width together 85 feet. The variance requested is 10 feet. Sorry about that. Notice of this public hearing under the Planning Act was circulated 10 days in advance, and 4 submissions have been received to date. Submissions were received from the township's public works technician, Tim Sopko, and they have no objection. The township's chief building official, Nick Snyder, comments that they have no objection. The township's emergency services department comments that they have no objection to the application. Bell Canada comments that they have no objection. And Maureen and James Pierce area neighbors have submitted a letter of support for the revised dock location. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration. If committee is considering approval of the application, staff recommend that the pergola on the dock be removed and that lot coverage be brought into compliance with the zoning bylaw. I'd like to comment that I believe the agent today is going to ask for a deferral so that they can recirculate to add the lot coverage to the variance and bring it back. But they will speak to that in their presentation today. And I have no further comments at this time. Sorry about the mix up, and we're happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you very much, Ms. Darling. And is the applicant or agent here wishing to speak on this?
They're actually not here.
They're all here?
They're not here.
They're not here, and they had asked for a deferral? Is that right, Ms. Darling?
Yeah, so they want to, we found late in the process that their existing lot coverage is 10.99, so 11%. So they would like to defer the application so that it can be recirculated to add their over lot coverage and have their dock in the same application, so they're not waiting for another application to go through.
Okay. Yes, Member Quinn.
Yes, yeah, I'm just it's 332 feet straight line, and that property is probably more like 700 feet. I personally don't have a problem with the 10-foot variance for width, but it's stuck out off a point, and I'm wondering if they shouldn't be looking at a shorter dock than 66 feet. It's fairly busy, navigable through there, and it's out on a point, and I think it's going to really stick out at 66 feet. So while they're reconsidering, and it's going to be a swim dock, I'd like to know what water depth they have at 50 feet and whether they would consider going to a 50-foot dock there rather than a 66.
Okay, Member Bosworth.
Member Quinn has taken the words right out of my mouth. I would just change it to, depending on water depth, if it is really to be a swim dock, they already have lots of capacity for boat docking on the other side. 66 feet on that angle in the bay is going to have a significant impact visually by the rest of the neighbors in the bay. I would suggest if the water's deep enough, they take it back to 35 feet.
I guess we'll turn it back to the agents and that, as far as that goes, that is a long way out and that. And as far as water depth and that, I don't think you have to go out 66 feet, that's for sure. And that, anybody else have any thoughts on that? So we might as well speak them now so we can get back to them and just say, listen, you know, it's too much. Anyone else? Okay, then we'll actually defer this application. I think the planner, when they're talking to them, know what we want, and that I don't think they have to go up 66 feet. We should check water depth, and I think 35 feet might be fine for a swim dock, and that you know, that way, and that I can even go with the 10-foot wide at that point, but it could even be made smaller to get out to swim. But we're looking at about 35 feet. If we can get that through to the applicant or applicant's agent, that would be great. And we'll go on with the next application. Thank you. And the next application is A8521. And that is Ms. Walker. Sorry.
No problem. Thank you, Chair Edwards.
That's all.
The next application to be heard is minor variance application A-85/21 in the name of Tembilikos. The subject property is known municipally as 1016 Kimberly Point Road, Unit 5. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted site plan on page 157 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of the application is summarized as follows. The applicants propose to demolish an existing one-story dwelling and sun deck and construct a new two-story dwelling with an associated sun deck. Relief is requested from the minimum lot frontage requirement. The subject lot has 88 feet of frontage where 100 feet is required. Relief is also requested from the maximum permitted height of 35 feet. The proposed dwelling is to be 38 feet in height. Relief is also requested from the maximum permitted lot coverage of 200 feet from the high water mark. 8% is permitted and 8.8% is proposed. Notice of this public hearing under the Planning Act was circulated 12 days in advance and 4 submissions have been received to date. The first submission is by Bell Canada advising they have no comments or concerns. The second submission is by Eric Campbell, intern fire protection officer, advising they have no objection. The third submission is by Tim Sopko, the township's public works technician. The submission is as follows. The building appears to be within both the flood fringe and the floodway elevations. This is contradictory to section 3.1 of the provincial policy statement. If approved, this application should be subject to appropriate floodproofing measures to the satisfaction of the township's chief building official. The fourth submission is by Nick Snyder, the township's chief building official. The submission is as follows. A portion of this building is located within the flood fringe elevation, and as such, floodproofing measures will be required at the building permit application stage. I have reached out to the applicant and they have advised the basement elevation will be constructed at an elevation of 222 meters well above the flood fringe elevation. This satisfies the above requirement. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration. If committee is considering approval of the application, staff recommend the following conditions. First, that a requirement to enter into a satisfactory site plan agreement along with the securities for the revegetation of the shoreline, and that the relief sought from the height requirements be denied. Staff have no further comments at this time, but are happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Walker. And is the applicant or applicant's agent here wishing to speak on this? And I believe we do have someone.
The agent's here.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you turn your video on?
Hi.
Oh, hi.
I'm representing our client Anne and Andreas Zambellicos. I'm a representative of the builder. I just wanted to give you a little bit of history about the property.
Can we have your full name and
Oh,
address?
sorry.
Please?
My name is Laura McAdam, and I'm located at 159 Spring Home Road in Oro Medonte, Ontario, L0L1T0.
Thank you.
So this original dwelling was built in 1914. It was originally used to house loggers on the lake, and I believe there was about 7 cabins with a main lodge where they would eat. My client's aunt purchased the property in 1959 when my client was only 4 years old, and spent many years as a child and through her teens and as an adult visiting the lodge or the cottage. Anne took possession of the property back in 2009 and has made many memories out at the lake. The original cottage, because it was just to house the loggers, was built on a pier foundation, and it actually had an indoor outhouse, believe it or not. So there have been many updates over the years. But it's time where they have decided they want to make this more of a 4-season cottage, so they can visit it in the winter and spend more time down there. So we have prepared this proposal to build a new cottage, and taking into consideration the constraints of the lot and the existing features, we would really hope that our application can be approved. We are pushing back the cottage quite a bit to move it out of the floodway. We are building in the flood fringe, but it's due to the existing driveway and septic and positioning of the other cottages on either side. The height relief that we're asking for is due to the width of the property. Like right now, the existing cottage does have 4 bedrooms. It's difficult to push over to the side because they want to maintain access down to the water. So we have proposed building up. To gain that space on the second floor, a 12-12 roof pitch is required. So I hope we can find some sort of resolution to our application.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here wishing to speak in support of this application?
No.
Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application?
No.
Questions from the members? I have one. Okay, yes, Mr. Bosworth.
I tend to agree with staff on this. We're going from a 1-story, low-profile building to what is effectively 3 stories. I know the township discourages having basements that come across the whole front of the building. This one covers essentially 3/4 of it. So it's a very large built form, I think, on a lot that's only 88 feet wide. It looks to be fairly close to the neighbor to the, if you're looking at the building from the water, it's to the right. Can't tell so much on the left because of the trees, but it's a large building and a very, undersized lot. And I think we should heed what staff is suggesting at minimum on the height. And we must have some plantings in the front to mitigate this much larger built form.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the agent and that I know you have a 12-12. Can you get it down some? And that to basically 35 feet.
Would we have to come down, like the actual height to the midpoint is 37.6 or 37 feet 6 inches. So it's only about 2.5 feet higher. We can go back and take a look at a lower roof pitch. But we are proposing to improve the existing setback, and due to the elevation of the land, that's the reason why we need that walkout basement.
Yeah. I'm sure a good designer could come in at 35 feet.
Okay.
And rather than turning it down at this point, if we actually defer it, then you can come back with something that the planners and the committee can actually approve.
Okay.
If that's what you would like, or would you like us to vote on it today.
I would love to get through the rest of the application, but I will definitely defer and retake another look at the height.
I think you're wise. Okay, so we'll actually defer that one as well. And the next application is A02 22 Marlow. And that is Ms. Darling again.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. The next application to be heard is minor variance application A0222 in the name of Marlow. The subject property is known municipally as 1386 Peninsula Road. I would direct committee's attention to the submitted site plan on page 180 through 188 of the agenda package. The purpose and effect of this application is summarized as follows. This application, the applicants propose to construct a single-story boathouse with a rooftop sun deck on an existing dock. Relief is requested from the maximum cumulative width for a single-story boathouse on a lot with less than 200 feet of frontage, which is 16%, and in this case, 24 feet. The proposed boathouse will be 30 feet. The variance requested is 6 feet. Please note that this application is identical to minor variance application A2218, which was granted in 2018, but this approval has since expired. Notice of this public hearing was circulated 11 days in advance, and 4 submissions have been received to date. First submission is from the township's public works technician, Tim Sopko, and he comments that they have no objection. Second submission is from the township's chief building official, and Nick Snyder, and he comments that they have no objections. Third submission is from Bell Canada, and they don't have any objection. The fourth submission is from Emergency Services, Eric Campbell, and he has commented that since that the property is 6 minutes from the closest fire station, and it will take responders 16 minutes to arrive by road on the scene and 30 minutes using a fireboat. He requests that he just recommends that the driveway complies with the Ontario Building Code, fire access route to ensure support for vehicles responding. And Emergency Services also requests that they can have access to the shoreline to use portable pumps if they're required for fire suppression. Staff have prepared a detailed report for committee's consideration and have no concerns. Staff have no further comments at this time and are happy to answer any questions from committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Darling. And is the applicant or applicant's agent here wish to speak on that? And I believe we have the agent.
Yeah.
Okay, would you bring them in, please?
Hi there.
Hello.
Good morning. My name is Kip Phillips. I'm here to represent the Marlows, 73 Joseph Street, Port Colony, Ontario, P0B 1J0. So basically, as mentioned previously, this is a reapplication for the 6 feet addition to the width. It was previously approved in 2018, and we're identical application. We originally wanted to build this boathouse, I think in the fall of 2019, somewhere around then. And we obviously postponed just due to the pandemic. So when we went to apply for permit this past fall, we realized that the minor variance was obviously not valid. So we're just reapplying to permit this boathouse to have a 30-foot width. And that's all I have for now.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in support of this application? Anyone against? Okay. Other questions from the members? No questions? Good. Excuse me. Moved by member Quinn, second by member Creaser. Be it resolved that application A0222 Marlowe to permit the construction of a single-story boathouse and a partial rooftop sun deck on existing dock is hereby approved with the following variance being granted. One, to permit the cumulative single-story boat width of 30 feet. This notice is granted as shown on the plan attached to the notice of decision. This approval shall remain in effect for 3 years from the date of decision. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that is carried.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I just had something I wanted to bring up regarding the Zambellicos application
Yeah.
for consideration.
Sure. Okay, just 1 second. I'll get my sound down and my.
Thank you, Chair Edwards. I just wanted to suggest a consideration for yourself and committee with respect to the Zambellicos application. If I was hearing correctly, it sounded like the agent was willing to bring the height of the building into compliance with the zoning bylaw requirement of 35 feet. And if that were the case, I don't see a need to defer or adjourn the application. That would necessitate a delay for the applicant and payment of an additional fee only to bring it back. So what I might suggest, if you agree, Chair, is to retable that application at this time and perhaps continue the discussion and try and make a decision today. I believe we have the agent available to assist committee if needed. So that would be my suggestion. Again, it's for your consideration. Thank you.
And Mr. Sharp, if they bring it into compliance, they don't have to come back. So, and that, like, it would just be mute, and they wouldn't need anything. They wouldn't have to reapply or anything, would they not? Because there were nothing, and that nothing required.
Well,
There were conditions.
so just to explain further, you're correct. Committee could strike the variance from the maximum height requirement from the notice of decision. However, there are other variances that need to be approved in order for the development to otherwise occur. So therefore, if they were to move forward with the application today, it would be just a matter of striking that variance from the notice of decision and proceeding with your review and decision with respect to the other variances involved. Thank you.
Okay, so let's go back to page 138. It has 88 feet of frontage. Okay, so basically what we're looking at then is 8.888%, which we normally allow. And it's the heights that we're, and that's what we reduce the height to the standard 35 feet.
I
And
would,
that,
yeah.
Okay, any comments from the committee? Your thoughts?
I'm fine with variance A and B with the removal of variance C.
Right,
Okay,
agreed.
Mhm.
Chair, if I may.
Yeah.
Staff also had some concerns about plantings at the front, and they had recommended deferral until we could assess whether we can impose that or not. Because from the pictures, it looks like this is a fairly exposed building at present, and you know, where it's a significantly larger and higher building. I'm concerned about
actually
impact
looking
from
at
water.
that, just a minute, as I look at this, it said the variances granted as shown on plan attached are subject to the following condition: that a satisfactory site plan agreement be entered into along with securities for revegetation of the shoreline buffer. So that would be fine. So if we just strike number 3, which is to permit the dwelling height of 38 feet in height. What I will do, and that is read the resolution, and then we can further discuss it. Okay. Moved by member Creaser, second by member Grogan Green, be it resolved that application A 8521 to permit the construction of a 2-story dwelling with associated sun deck is hereby approved with the following variance being granted. 1, to permit a dwelling with an associated sun deck to be enlarged and relocated on an undersized lot. Okay, that's the first one. 2, to permit a lot coverage of 1,732 square feet or 8.8% within the lot area 200 feet from the high water mark. And the one that we are actually in that discussing is 3, to permit a dwelling to be 38 feet in height. So that could be struck, but I will let Mr. Sharp answer any and that respond to that. Just one second.
Thank you, Chair Edwards, and for your consideration of this matter. I just wanted to note Member Bosworth's concern with respect to the portion of staff's report dealing with the condition of a site plan agreement for plantings. I think what we were suggesting is either the applicant's agent confirm that she's in agreement with the condition and that she does feel that there is an ability to undertake plantings on the property. If she can't answer that, I do think that a deferral would be the best option, but for that reason, not specifically to deal with the height. I think if it can't be confirmed that plantings are possible, again, the application would be deferred until a site visit can be undertaken in snow-free conditions and a proper evaluation of the property. But I would look to the agent. Thank you.
We would definitely be willing to plant along that shoreline. The homeowners want to keep the beauty of the lot, and that's definitely something that they would do.
You were muted, Mr. Chair.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, finally, but it doesn't show at the top. Sorry about that. Laura, could you please, and Nat, repeat that?
I was just saying that we've already had this conversation with our clients, and they are more than willing to plant extra vegetation along that shoreline as a buffer from the lake.
Okay, so then if we give you 1 to enlarge and on an undersized lot, and we give you 8.8%, but we take the 35 feet, you can be assured that that will work out for you.
I think we have a plan.
Okay, very good then. So leaving that, any questions or comments from the committee? So you've heard that. So what we're going to do is we're going to strike out number 3, which is to permit a dwelling to be 38 feet in height. And the other, we're leaving it can be enlarged and relocated on an undersized lot and 8.8% lot coverage. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, all those in favor? I think that's carried, but I lost Mr. Quinn. Sorry, Mr. Bosworth, I lost. Well, that is carried. And hopefully, Member Bosworth should be able to come back in.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay.
Sorry, Chair.
Yes.
Sorry, for some reason I got disconnected. I just wanted to confirm from the applicant's agent that they feel there is enough soil to have plantings, which was a concern of.
Well, the thing is this, when that comes back, we have it in there. If they can't, then it's fine. Staff can handle that. At least we have plantings in there if they can put them in. If they can show it that there's no way they can put plantings in, then I'm sure staff can handle that.
Okay.
Okay. And is there any other business at this point? No, it looks like we're fine. And today it looks like time is standing still, but then I realized the clock on the wall has just stopped.
It stopped.
Moved by Member Bosworth.
It must have stopped when Rob.
Moved by, yeah. Moved by Member Bosworth, second by Member Creaser. Be it resolved that the meeting adjourned at 10:36 a.m. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much. We'll see you next month. If I took the time on the wall, it'd be a real good meeting because it's only at 9:45.
Excellent work, Chair. Excellent work.
Thank you.